Hey there, good evening, and welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show that is dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, here we are, Wednesday night, which is the night I do my Wednesday night favorites. This week I'm doing one that was suggested to me by one of my subscribers, and this is called my 10 favorite supergroups. Okay, so this was actually much tougher than I originally thought. I looked up all of the supergroups that I could think of. Well, I wrote down the ones that I could think of, and then I wrote up all the other ones that I could find. To be quite honest with you, it's readily apparent to me, having done this exercise, that I do not listen to supergroups. There's only like a half a dozen of them here that I actually have listened to at any length. And not all of them are among my favorites, but I got 10 in here, but to be honest with you, I could have gone with 5 and still been pushing it a bit. Anyways, having said that, I did promise to do this, so I'm going to do this. There will be no honorable mentions because I had 4 or 5 bands that were listed as honorable mentions. Once I looked them over, I decided that, I have not listened to half of these. The other half I've listened to a little bit, and the one that I'd listened to the most I didn't actually like, so it didn't seem much sense to give them recognition when I don't know anything about them. So we're just going to do the top 10 for tonight. And I apologize if this grates against you. It's nothing personal. For just some reason I just have never taken to any supergroups of any kind that I can see. There's 2 or 3 of them here that are not bad, but I only have, here they are, I only have 3 props of the set. That shows you how this, if you go look through my record collection, there are basically 4 albums by these supergroups. That's pretty pathetic, but we'll do it anyways. Okay, so the first one, we're going to do this the way we normally do this, which is my least favorite of these to my most favorite. And in this case, it'll be my least known about to my most known about. More than likely, that's the way it's going to go. But anyways, so here we go. Humble Pie. This is a super group. Listen to a few of their songs. They're okay. I know a lot of people like them. They're not really my style of music, so I don't know much about them. I've never owned an album by them. I've never even wanted to own an album by them. But I don't actually dislike them because I don't know enough about them to say so. The two or three tracks that I have heard before in the past, I was okay with. They're not particularly memorable to me, but I didn't dislike them. Perhaps if I was to concentrate on them more, I might find some stuff in there that I like, but I'm not, at this point in time. I have so many other groups that I'm looking forward to listening to their albums that I just to squeeze something in there that I'm not really interested in doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So Humble Pie is going to come in at number 10. Damn Yankees. This is another band that, I know a little bit more about it because I happen to be a big fan of Tommy Shaw. I like Tommy Shaw a lot. I don't mind Night Ranger. Ted Nugent, I could take or leave him. There are some stuff of his I like, but as a person, he's kind of a little bit whacked out there. But I have listened to a couple of their tracks on occasion just because I was curious as to what Tommy Shaw was doing, and enough of it to know that it's not too bad. So it comes in here ahead of Humble Pie for that reason. So it's coming in at number 9. Next up, this is a band that was first introduced to me in my album challenge, the Great Prog War. I had heard of them, of course. It's pretty hard not to hear of these supergroups, but I had heard of this band. I knew the members of it, and I actually enjoyed the album that we had on the Prog War, but I haven't gone back to it because, like I said, I've got a lot of stuff to listen to, and eventually, if I buy it, it might go into my playlist, and then it'll get kind of heard. But I haven't seen it, so I haven't made it. And so coming in at number 8 is UK, which features John Wetton in there, along with Bill Bruford. God, I'm drawing a blank on the other 2 guys, but I know who they are. Anyways, pretty decent album. It's the first one of these three that I've actually kind of listened to a few times, so that's why I put it up higher because of that. So it comes in at number 8. So number 7, of course, is Asia. This may be the only album on this entire thing that I've listened to at any length of time for any length of time. We're talking about this album, of course, Asia, the first one. I bought this when it first came out, primarily because of Steve Howe. Steve Howe was my motivation to get this album. I love Steve Howe. This album isn't really that progressive. It's not really that great of an album. I did listen to it a lot in the day because I was younger and I got into the music a little more. I probably listened to this a couple hundred times, which means that it's probably about 150 times more than anything else on this list. It's kind of worn on me over the years. I don't really listen to it much anymore. There's a couple tracks I still like, but I wouldn't say this is a fantastic supergroup. It's okay for this particular album. The rest of the albums are pretty much unmemorable to me. Okay, coming up next is the number 6 band, which is a band that I actually have listened to, gone out of my way to listen to a couple times online. I actually watched them in concert once online, and I actually like the music quite a bit. And primarily I got into this because of the members of the band, being from Marillion, from Spock's Beard, who were the other two bands? Dream Theater. I'm drawing a blank on the last. Maybe it's Porcupine Tree. I think it might be Porcupine Tree. So you got 4 members from those 4 bands. And of course, we're talking about Transatlantic. I do like that one album. I can see the album. I can't picture the name of it. I don't have it, so I can't show it to you. But it's a pretty decent album. It's an album that's on my list of albums to buy. I make a list, and as I remove albums from it, I upgrade the list and add more albums to it. And that album is definitely on there. It's an album I'd like to get. I actually have seen it, but I didn't want to pay the price they were asking, so I didn't buy it. But definitely an album I would like to listen to. So Transatlantic gets here on the strength of a couple of listens to on the internet and one concert that I watched. So they come in at number 6. So that shows you how weak this list is. Is a band that I've only listened to 2 or 3 times, already up at number 6. The next one is also a band like this, who I was curious about because, of course, the lead singer I like quite a bit, and that's David Bowie. The album is, the band is called Tin Machine. Pretty heavy metal-ish. Well, not really heavy metal-ish, more like hard rock, but pretty hard. And for a David Bowie, it's very hard. Yeah, I actually liked it quite a bit, and I've been looking for it, but it's one of those albums that, because it's a bit of a oddity, it's going to be difficult to find. But this is a band that I could see myself liking quite a bit, and that's Tin Machine, featuring David Bowie. Okay, so the next 4 are going to be well known. All 4 of them I've listened to at different periods of time, like not at the same time, like not even in the same time period. One of them I listened to very recently. The other 2 are more like 80-ish listens to. I mean, the other one was maybe over the last 4 years I've slowly gotten into them. Okay, so we'll start with the number 4 one, which is CSNY. I'm a huge fan of Neil Young, so that gives them a leg up here right away. I like Neil Young's renditions of some of his songs with them. I like their stuff. I don't own any of their stuff, though. I guess I could have... these 2 are not ready yet. So a very good, solid band. And, of course, the passing of David Crosby makes me want to listen to them a little more. I don't own anything from them, and when I'm out looking for stuff, I'm looking for specific stuff on my list. So unless I run across this, it doesn't really enter my mind to go purchase it. But I do like their stuff. Just I don't own any of it. So they're coming in number 4 today, though, CSNY. Number 3 is this album, Traveling Wilburys. I don't know what their volume 3 is like, but this one's really good. This may be the best album of any of the of the albums that I have as props here. Definitely one of the best of the supergroup albums that I've been listing here. And just on the strength of this album, which only recently came out of my playlist, this album, this band's going to come in at third. I'm actually looking for the second one because I think it'll be almost as good. And and yet none of these musicians are people that I regularly listen to, but I like them together as a collective. Next up is probably the strangest band for me in my discography, because by rights they should be right up there. They are as proggy as they get. They're as a super band as they get. I love the vocalist. He's fantastic. The drummer was in My Asia. The keyboardist is one of the greatest keyboardists ever. And we all know I'm talking about Emerson, Lake and Palmer. This album is a great album by all standards. But I have never really warmed up to Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I'm not really sure what the issue is. They certainly have very proggy music, maybe amongst the most proggy music out there. I'm not really sure what it is. Maybe it's a little too bombast for me. That could be it. I'm not sure. I do have a couple of their albums now. This one in Trilogy, although I don't know where I put Trilogy. I haven't been able to find it. I know it's here somewhere, but I haven't listened to either of them. Neither of them are probably going to go in my playlist. They're not. I'm not motivated to put them there. I have too many other things to put in there first. So, but good albums. Makes Emerson, Lake and Palmer number 2, and they're a band I rarely listen to, so not very good. So the number 1 band probably gets there by the strength of one album, and this was a band I liked a lot when I was younger. I listened to this album a lot. The album is, of course, Fresh Cream by Cream. This is a great band. All the musicians in this are notable. They've taken a little bit of a downturn in recent years because of my disdain for Ginger Baker. Yeah, he's a great drummer. Yes, he's one of the great legendary drummers of all time. Yes, he's fantastic. But as a human being, he has a lot to be desired. And as a drummer myself, I don't look to him too quickly. Doesn't really matter to me that he's that great of a drummer. There's plenty of other great drummers around. Oh, sorry, at least according to the rest of us, but according to him, there's not very many. And then none of them are as good as him, right? So, but I don't want to get into a rant about Ginger Baker because I don't really listen to him much, so I don't really have much to say about him other than I don't really care for that. It's kind of affected my my like of Cream, although the music's great. They may be the best supergroup ever, and for today they're going to be number 1 on my list. So okay, so I hope the subscriber that asked for this enjoyed it. I didn't really enjoy it too much because I was talking about stuff that I feel like I'm out of my league on, and stuff that really hasn't really, I didn't know it until I put it together, that really hasn't touched me all that much. So apparently I'm not a supergroup guy. So I can live with that. I can. But, again, the reason we're doing all this and doing these kind of shows is that so we learn something new. I learned something new today. I learned that there's quite a few supergroups, and some of them I haven't given a fair shake to. So some of them need to get a fair shake to. Some of these have a chance to be better than they are on here. Cream is one of them. Got to put my prejudice against Ginger Baker aside, because Jack Bruce is amazing. I love Jack Bruce. I have quite a bit of Eric Clapton solo stuff. I'm not a huge blues fan, but I like Eric Clapton's guitar playing. I think he is very unique in his guitar style, and I like him a lot. So that's 2/3 of the band. You can't let one bad apple in the barrel ruin the whole barrel for you. So yeah, I need to look at what I'm thinking when it comes to stuff like that. And the same with Emerson, Lake and Palmer. They are one of those bands, along with, this is not a supergroup, but Kansas is a band that I need to put more pressure on myself to listen to them more, because they're a band that should, by all rights, be up in my echelons, and yet they're not. So go figure, eh? So anyways, there you have it, my top 10 favorite or known super bands. So, and I will reiterate them now just because that's the way I always do it. So we have Cream at number 1. Number 1 with a bullet. ELP. The Traveling Wilburys. Anything that has George Harrison on it, it's got to be good. Number 4, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So that's not Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, is it? No. Okay. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young at number 4. Gotta like a band with a musician caliber of those guys. Tin Machine, yes, David Bowie. Love David Bowie. This is a heavier David Bowie. I like it a lot. You got Transatlantic as a new group for me that I quite like. That one album I heard, Voyage to Forever or something like that. I can't remember. I have to go look it up. Asia, of course, this album is the one and only album that I've listened to a lot out of all of these. And because it has Steve Howe on it, I like it. Okay. UK, another great group that I've listened to recently. Maybe like what I heard from them more than I did from Transatlantic. They may be the band, the sleeping giant here. Number 9, Damn Yankees. Anything with Tommy Shaw on it is going to be fine with me at some point. And of course, number 10, Humble Pie, one of the great legendary bands out there. And I'm not going to bother with the honorable mentions because 1, 2, 3 of them I don't really know that well. I've heard little bits and pieces here. I couldn't even tell you any of their songs. And the other one I definitely didn't like. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, if there's other super bands out there that maybe I didn't mention or maybe you think that might suit me as a person, I'm more than welcome to listen. Some of these I have to give a try to. There's no doubt about it. So anyways, you take care of yourself. And please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And we'll be back next Wednesday with another favorites. And I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I think it'll be something that's on my list to do. So take care and have a good night. Goodbye.